What's a scary science fact that the public knows nothing about? Grapefruits completely F with a shitload of prescription medications. Probably the most common one that will affect the general healthy individual is that it can F with some contraceptive pills. Ain't got no time for no grapefruit, baby. If your dog swims in a lake after receiving a spot on flea treatment, it absolutely decimates the invertebrate population. A large dog swimming in 8 Olympic swimming pools worth of water soon after treatment will leach enough neurotoxin to kill 50% of the lake's invertebrate population within 48 hours. I say after, I mean relatively soon after, within say a day, to have an effect quite this devastating. The leaching does reduce over the month, but it's still there, and the effect of multiple dogs still allows for a terrible buildup of chemicals. This has blown my mind. What are the active chemicals that cause this? Imidacloprid, permethrin and methoprene. I only recently learned that when you get sunburned, the burn isn't because of skin cell damage. The UV radiation damages the DNA. Then the skin cells decide to commit suicide and fall off so that the damaged DNA does not produce cancer. I will never be mad at my skin peeling again. When doing an autopsy, they don't put the organs back where they belong. They are all stored in the belly. That you should never use bleach to clean cat pee. The combination creates chlorine gas that is very toxic. If you are exposed to rabies and start to show symptoms, your chance of survival is virtually 0%. Brain aneurysms can be completely unpredictable and can happen at any time in your life, no matter how healthy you are. A kid who I went to high school with at the age of 16 just did not wake up one morning, and his cause of death was a brain aneurysm. Microplastics in the food and water supplies are crossing the blood-brain barrier. Fun fact, one of the leading sources of microplastics is laundry. Specifically, washing machines. Most fabric these days has some plastic in it, and you can get quite a bit out of a dryer's lint trap. All dryers these days have lint traps to prevent fires, but you know what don't? Washing machines. They also produce a bunch of lint. Not as much gets loose as it gets stuck to the clothes, but still a sizable amount, but that lint just gets flushed down the drain. We could cut out a huge amount, likely the majority, of microplastics if we banned their use in cosmetics and installed washable filter screen in all new washing machines. There are alternative ways some proteins can form tertiary structures. These different structures make the protein unable to function. These alternate protein structures are infectious and incurable as they are so stable. If you get some in your blood, they will slowly convert your own proteins when making contact. They are called prions. It gets worse. All of the diseases they cause are horrific progressive nightmares that are not just incurable, but untreatable. And they are all 100% fatal. Heart muscle cells don't reproduce much in adults, roughly 1% per year. If you have an infarction or other stressor that kills those cells, then your heart won't be able to grow new cells to replace the dead ones. This is why patients with diseases like heart failure end up needing a heart transplant. Trying to get this process to happen is a major goal for many cardiac researchers. Before the vaccine, the number of people who have had HPV infection and have had at least one sexual partner was 85% in females and 91% of males. By far the most common STI. Worth elaborating, there are a ton of strains, and most of them are relatively harmless. Only a couple produce notable symptoms or issues, so most people never have any clue they have it. During Second World War, the Japanese would continuously experiment on the people they captured, like open a pregnant woman's stomach and see the baby, infect her with syphilis and see the effects, etc. While the Nazis also did commit genocide and all that, Japan was never confronted about those war crimes. Anthrax spores can remain viable for decades in the soil or animal products, such as dried or processed hides and wool. I heard of issues coming up with those Tough Mudder type obstacle courses. Company rents out a field, digs up the mud. Mud is contaminated with agricultural runoff aqua feces, and people get all kinds of infections and viruses. Limnic eruptions. There are pockets of CO2 trapped under lakes all around the world that can be released at any time, creating an invisible tidal wave that kills everything in its path. Since it's heavier than air, you will just suddenly start choking and die. It's only been recorded twice, into lakes very close to each other. It's exceptionally rare or requires incredibly specific circumstances, such as proximity to volcanic activity, and a lake where the deeper waters and shallow waters never mix. 99.9% of lakes mix at least once a year. It also must have a cool lake bed despite being in an area with high volcanic activity. Update. By popular demand. The WHO research paper on requirements for safe drinking water and formaldehyde in drinking water. A lot of people in rural towns with an elevated cemetery around. This happens in Ireland a lot. There is formaldehyde leaking into the drinking water. But it won't kill you, but the thought of drinking dead people juice is probably equally bad. Sorry not sorry. Update. I have a PDF link to the scientific research paper from WHO concerning the requirements for safe drinking water, and it covers the entire formaldehyde in drinking water issue. If anyone is interested, I read it and I can confirm it's true, but not detrimental to your health, even long term. Scientists don't know exactly how acetaminophen works to relieve pain and reduce fever. They have an idea but nothing for sure, but yet it's the most commonly used pain reliever in the world. This is actually true of a large number of medications. The plague is still out there. The bubonic plague is endemic in many parts of the world, but cases are very rare because we have got it pretty well handled. If there is a general breakdown in society like a nuclear war, supervolcano eruption or asteroid impact, it's out there waiting to come back. Antimicrobial resistance. The bacteria are getting resistant to the drugs much faster than the rate at which we are producing new drugs. Soon we will reach a scenario when antibiotics cannot treat simple yet lethal infections. Nutrition deficiencies such as iron, vitamin C, have many symptoms that were uncovered in an experiment in residential school. They would have a class of indigenous children that would never get iron from foods or any intake. Another class would get the iron supplements, then compare for results. Some children would grow up with disease. A lot of the testing classes didn't survive. Those who did ended up with anemia. Results of the studies are well known to us: fatigue, pale skin, chest pain, tongue soreness, etc. Inside the permafrost around the world, there is stored about twice the amount of CO2 we currently have in our atmosphere. That's why permafrost must stop melting. The German Nazi army consumed massive amounts of Pervitin, a brand name for literal meth, and the company producing Pervitin made the pills till the 1980s, and the armies used Pervitin for drills till then. The Nazis also put Pervitin in chocolates, calling it Hausfrauenschokolade to ease the dreaded life of a stay-at-home mother, and so on. Eastern Germany still has a huge meth problem, which is a whole lot less surprising, knowing that it has been produced there legally up until fairly recently. There is a naturally occurring thought in many humans named the call of the void, where, without reason, humans see a way they could die and they wonder whether they should kill themselves, even if they have no real intention of doing so. If my college biology professor was not completely misinformed, most humans have some form of parasite living inside them, some variety of worm, etc. There are just creepy crawlies in our insides, and we might never notice them. The one that came closest to giving me nightmares was hookworms, although the thought that you could have heartworms kind of messed with me too. Evidently, they are not just for dogs. Many antibiotics make hormonal birth control stop working, not just a fact but a warning. There is many unknown and forgotten diseases trapped in the permafrost, and it's slowly but surely melting away. There has been a few cases in Russia, while exploring for oil, gas I believe, of people dying of strange diseases that we have no idea how to treat, because they have basically been hidden there since before medicine even existed. Some could be contagious, we just know very little about it. Approximately 60%, in some reports, of the world's population have the parasite Toxoplasma gondii in their brain. For a long time it's thought to have been a benign presence, but recent statistical research shows that it may have an impact on things like levels of anger and rates of accidents and suicide. When Gandhi is on rats, it changes their behavior, so that they find the smell of cat urine sexually appealing. So they find cats and get eaten. In the gut of the cat the parasite can reproduce. The United States has lost and never recovered at least 6 nuclear devices. We have scoured the ocean mostly clean of life, like, the major fisheries are down something like 80% from their peaks, and nobody is doing anything about it. 50% of insects have disappeared since 1970. Insect population is down 27% in the last 30 years, declining between 1 and 4% each year depending on the genus. The youngest persons who developed Alzheimer's were around 25 years old. One lady got diagnosed with it at 31 while pregnant. BD, when you get the disease at like 65, it didn't suddenly begin. It has been creeping up and ravaging your brain for at least 20 years if not more. You just didn't realize it because our brain is very good at compensating damages until it cannot. Basically, the day you lose yourself in the supermarket, it's too late. Your brain is mostly mush and there is so far nothing you can do. That means that if you are 40, 60 years old and reading this, chances are that some of you already started to experience the onset of Alzheimer's brain degeneration. It's just not advanced enough for you to realize it. Have a nice day. All onions, all veggies in the allium family, are toxic to dogs. Worst case scenario then can develop a IH, autoimmune hemolytic anemia, whereas the body destroys its own red blood cells. This disease is about 80% fatal. My dog caught it. We are not sure from where, but it was a primary disease, not a result of a cancer. We think he was eating leeks out of the garden. Took a week in the hospital, to blood transfusions, and about 6 months of meds to get him back. He started at 45 pounds and was down to 19 pounds at the worst part of it. When you get killed by army ants, it's not bites that kill you, it's invasion of the lungs. If there was a threat traveling to Earth at the speed of light, we would die instantly out of nowhere, because we have no way of seeing it coming. So in other words, no need to worry about it. We still have no idea what consciousness is. Worse, we have not many ideas how to think about it. Just some philosophical ideas, damn it. Chalmers, etc. I mean, we don't know how to build interstellar ship, but we could write books and make movies about it. We could speculate about different approaches and ideas. For consciousness, it's not true. We don't know why it exists. What is I? What is the role of consciousness? How it emerges? How to research it and so on. Antibiotics cause you to retain 10x as much of the heavy metals from your diet. As in, ordinarily, if you feed a mouse some mercury, it poops out 90% of it by the end of the month. You give that mouse antibiotics first, all the mercury stays in the mouse, gets absorbed from the GI tract and deposited in tissue. The world is literally running out of sand that is usable to manufacture concrete. Most of the world's sand is in its deserts, but usable sand only comes from river beds, shores and lake beds. People are being murdered over sand right now. It's easier to make gunpowder than it is to bake a cake. Your microwave has several components that can kill you by touch. Never open the insides of a microwave. Thanks for watching. Share your story in the comment.